Then said Mary to the angel, how shall this be? I've wondered about this too. How come when Zechariah said, how do I know? How do I know it's really going to happen? Because we're both old. And he says, you're going to be struck dumb until the birth of your son. Mary says something similar. How shall this be? Seeing I know not a man. Saying, since I'm a virgin, how is that possible? She pretty much did the same thing as Zechariah. She's questioning the angel. I always wondered why Mary didn't get struck dumb too. I don't know. Therefore also that holy thing which shall be born of you shall be called the Son of God. That holy thing. The thing, Jesus, shall be called the Son of God. Okay, after this verse, right after it said, and the angel departed from her, that's verse 38 in Luke 1. The very next verse says, and Mary arose in those days and went into the hill country with haste into a city of Judea and entered into the house of Zechariah and saluted Elizabeth. Now, I'm pretty sure it was after the events of Joseph in Matthew, because finishing off after where we left off in Matthew 17. So now Matthew 18. Now the birth of Jesus was on this wise. When his mother Mary was engaged to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Ghost. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man, and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privily. But while he thought on these things, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, Joseph, the son of David, fear not to take to you Mary your wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Ghost. So, this is speaking of when Joseph first found out that Mary had conceived, and Joseph didn't have to marry her if she really did commit fornication. Not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privately. And then he had the dream, and we stopped in Matthew at the end of 17, so now beginning of Matthew 18. Now, the birth of Jesus Christ was on this wise, and knew her not till she had brought forth her firstborn son, and he called his name Jesus. See, I think that last verse might need to be put after the meeting between Mary and Elizabeth, because it's just jumping from time. That vision Joseph had in the dream, and then when they finally had Jesus, they named him. So it's skipping over a lot of stuff. It would feel weird if I have it in this order. Joseph had the dream, they named him Jesus, but before she gave birth, she went and visited Elizabeth. So I spoke with a friend of mine about the storyline between the angelic visit that Mary had, her visit with Elizabeth, and the angelic visit that Joseph had as a result of him finding out that Mary was pregnant and he had not been with her yet. He helped me understand something very clear that I can't believe I didn't see at first. It would be very wrong of me or anyone to assume that Mary did anything dishonoring, which would be not telling Joseph the vision that she had, the angelic visit she had, and that she was going to be a mother even though he had not been with her. Before I said perhaps she just didn't tell Joseph, but that probably didn't happen. The Bible's very clear. Luke 1, and the angel came into her and said, Hail, you that are highly favored, the Lord is with you, blessed are you among women. And then later, the angel said to her, Fear not, Mary, for you have found favor with God. So if we're going to assume anything about Mary, it should be that whatever her reaction was to this visitation, this knowledge that she received, she probably acted in the same manner she has been acting before, which is very principled, very honest, very truthful, very righteous. And she probably went right to Joseph and said, This is what happened. This is what I found out. This is what an angel told me. I'm going to conceive. And as a result, Joseph had that thought process of, what should I do? She is pregnant. She will conceive. I think, what does it say in Matthew? When, as his mother Mary was engaged to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Ghost. The angel visited Mary, and then she most likely immediately told Joseph, which means that the story in Matthew of the angel visiting Joseph in a dream should come right after. That should be the very next point in the story. And then going to visit Elizabeth. So what I'm basically going to do in here is go from the passage in Luke of the angel visiting Mary, skip over to the passage in Matthew, the angel visiting Joseph, and then going back to Luke, Mary visiting Elizabeth. And that's because of the fact that we are trusting that Mary did the honorable thing to her husband, which is to immediately tell him, which led to the angels visiting him in a dream. That's how I came up with this timeline, this chronology. That's why I'm putting in that order. So Mary would have done the honorable thing, tell her husband-to-be that she was with child of the Holy Ghost. That's a test of faith. You're not even married yet. Go tell this man that you will marry that you are going to be with child. I understand why he would have such doubts. Even if she was a very honorable, very respectable, prudent woman of high reputation, I would have had doubts. There are a lot of things that Michael Rood talks about. Some of what he's saying I totally agree with, and I think I really want to include them, but not all of them. I have a lot of questions. I think, I'm going to be straight up, I think he's wrong about some stuff. Some of the stuff I mentioned earlier, like when Mary got her angelic visitation, I don't think we should assume she hid anything from Joseph. The angel clearly said Mary was highly favored with God. So if there was going to be any assumption, it was that Mary immediately told Joseph. And that would bring us into the story of Joseph having found out, wanting to put her away privately, and then getting his dream from an angel. And that's why I did that. But he doesn't do that. He, in his timeline, he says, nope, Mary was visited by the angel, and she immediately went to see her cousin Elizabeth. And then, months later, when it became clear, because Mary was getting large, that then Joseph found out because he could see, because everyone could see, and that's when he wanted to put her away. I totally don't believe that at all. I am sure he has some reasons for believing that. In fact, I looked up the Greek word when it was found out, when it became apparent. Hold on, let me look back. There it is. Matthew 1:18. Now the birth of Jesus was on this wise, when as his mother Mary was engaged to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Ghost. That word, found, it's exactly as it sounds. It's found. It was discovered upon prior ignorance. They didn't know, and then it was found out. But still, that doesn't clearly say they found out because she was now large with a baby. So I still strongly believe that if there's any assumption, it should be that Mary was very honest, immediately told Joseph, and that this story of him wanting to put her away privately came first. And then, after Joseph had the dream, being visited by an angel, then Mary went to see Elizabeth. And then after that, they got married and Jesus was born. So the angel came to him, hence the story. And then chapter 2 begins when Jesus was born in Bethlehem. Now, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men. This account of the wise men, I've heard from many people that this is a time after. It could be like 2 years after, but it's definitely not the day Jesus was born. I'm going to put the account in Luke of the angels singing, the shepherds tending their sheep, and then I'm going to come back to this point with the wise men.